food for themselves, then they would buy a whole bunch of food for somebody else. They didn't even know who was going to get it. And you would bring the food here, and we couldn't believe it. The truckloads, I'm not exaggerating, the truckloads. We kept piling them into these trucks and then driving them off. And we had set times. We said, you come this time, all the campuses, and there was a trail of cars, way out, trail of cars waiting to drop it off. Nobody wanted to touch each other, you know what I'm saying, early on. So they didn't want to get out of their car, and so they drive up, hand the food. And this church gave so much food, I didn't know how much. It was just so many truckloads. And when we came to the end of that, it was no longer needed. We just asked Second Mile Mission Center, what did Sugar Creek give? I mean, do you have any idea? They said, we know exactly what you gave. See, every time it would come in, we would put it on this humongous scale, and we always go by weight. So marshmallows, not so much, but canned goods, yes. And so they said, we can tell you, Sugar Creek Baptist Church alone has given 100 tons of food to Second Mile. 100 tons. The last time I checked, a ton is 2,000 pounds. 200,000 pounds of food. I'm very proud about one thing. I mentioned to you during this time that people need cookies. When they're eating all the good stuff, they need cookies at the end. And Second Mile said they got so many cookies. Where are all these cookies coming from? And wires all over. So I was very, very proud of Sugar Creek. We got cookies that was in there. Did you know during that time, some of our members lost their jobs? And so we said, we're going to help you. And over the span of a few months, we helped at the tune of $100,000 of helping members who were struggling and hurting because either they got cut back in their hours or they lost their jobs. We didn't give money out. We don't give money out. We paid utility bills. We paid car payment. They had to prove up what their situation was, and they were glad to do it. And then we helped them kind of carry them through until things got back together. And I was so proud of our church. $100,000. We were helping each other, taking care of each other. I don't know if you remember, but Hurricane Laura passed through about 6 months into the pandemic, and it hit Louisiana and especially Lake Charles. It was sort of a direct hit on Lake Charles, and Lake Charles was underwater. And we heard about a church. We didn't know anybody from that church, but we heard about a church in the poorest part of Lake Charles. And they had insurance, but they had a $50,000 deductible. The pastor totally lost his house. It was totally destroyed. He had insurance, but he had a $10,000 deductible. Almost all their members lost their jobs. What in the world do we do? So I will tell you, when we found out about it at Sugar Creek, we wrote a check for $60,000, $50,000 for the church, $10,000 for the pastor, and we didn't just send a check. We took a team of people there to say, we're going to help you with the cleanup and help you get things put together. And I had a conversation with that pastor, and that pastor with tears said, we just feel like you were a gift from heaven. We feel like God just packed you up and brought you to us, that you blessed us like you don't even know us, but you cared about us. He said, one day you're going to